today, as we celebrate Independence Day, we take a special time to remember the freedom that God gave us. And a lot of times, again, we think of freedom as, the ability to do whatever we want, whenever we want, whatever way we want it, and with whomever we want. But that's not freedom. That's called licentiousness and ends up being in addiction, and we're trapped. Rather, the classical definition of freedom is freedom for excellence. I was thinking about this and pondering over this, and I'm remembering when I was in college in the orchestra, the conductor of the orchestra had his violin teacher come and play the Beethoven violin concerto, and the orchestra accompanied it. And this man could play the violin, not just technically very well, which I'd heard plenty of people do well, but he brought tears to your eyes. How much emotion he was able to put into this playing. This man had the freedom to bring to life the beauty of the violin. I played viola for a lot of years, and in the beginning I brought tears to my parents' eyes as well, but I think that was for a completely different reason. But over the years, I grew in freedom of being able to play what I wanted because I learned how to play more and more. But to listen to someone who's a virtuoso, the way they can make an instrument sing. And that's freedom. God is inviting us into freedom, not to be able to do whatever we want, whenever we want, but rather to be excellent, to be the person God made us to be, that we're called to follow Him. And as St. Augustine said, love God and then do whatever you will. Not because love God and then, now I can go kill someone and that'll be fine, but rather by our loving God first and foremost, then everything that we want to do will be in alignment with the will of God. And so we have that true freedom. I was thinking about this and pondering over this. Yesterday, which we didn't hear the gospel because we had the feast of St. Thomas, but the gospel would have been where people come up to Jesus and said, "I will follow you wherever you go. Foxes have dens and birds of the sky have nests. The Son of Man has nowhere to rest his head. Let me go and bury my Father. Follow me and let the dead bury their dead." So we remember this gospel even though we didn't hear it yesterday. And then the very first line of the gospel today is, as Jesus got into a boat, his disciples followed him. That they gave up something from their past in order to go and be excellent. To grow in excellence, to follow Christ, to become who they were meant to be. Now, obviously they don't have it all together. They're in the boat and there's a storm and they don't yet trust Jesus to the point where they know that it'll be okay. But they're following him. They're on the path to freedom. And I was thinking about this and saying, we know the end of this story, so we look at the disciples and say, "Come on, guys, get with the program." But that's because we know the end of the story. Certainly we've all been in those experiences where we're saying, what's going to happen? And we don't know the end. Like a couple weeks ago when we were having some driving rain, I had gone up to Concord to celebrate my nephew's 24th birthday. On the drive back, it was still raining pretty hard and people driving crazy on the road. And at one point, someone pulled into my lane as I was right there. Didn't even look to see that I was right there. And so I had to swerve into the other lane without being able to look. My heart's going, I'm saying, am I going to make it? What's going to happen? And a little bit later, I saw a car spinning on the road. I'm saying, this is crazy. End of the story, I made it home safely. In case you couldn't tell. So you're looking at that, well, yeah, of course. But in the moment, we don't see the end of the story. And it's in those moments where we don't see the end of the story that we're then called to trust and say, Jesus, I trust in you, even if it seems you're asleep in my boat. Jesus, I trust in you. I know you're taking care of this, even though I can't see the end of the story. And this brings us freedom. Because we don't have to be in control of everything, because we know our God, who loves us so intimately, so passionately, so infinitely, is taking care of us. Yeah, sometimes we come and say, "Come on, God, where are you?" and try to wake him up, and he says, "Why are you terrified? Oh, you of little faith. Do you not know I love you and I'm taking care of you?" And this is where we find our freedom, in following Christ in trust. And as we grow in that trust of God, then we're able to let go of all those things that are holding us back from being free. Because we don't have to control the situation, but we can say, I can rest in the arms of my God.